in the 30th juz are Madani. However, the surahs are of the Makki nature. Because they are of the Makki nature, the subject matter is the same. It is the basics of Iman. It was a direct address to those who do not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or those who do not believe in the last prophet, or those who do not believe in the hereafter. So the subject matter is always the same. However, the details are different. The details are different. In Tirmidhi, which is a hadith book, it is taught in the Darul Ulums. It is mentioned, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, whoever wants to see the day of judgment, then he should read إِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُوِّرَتْ, the surah we are doing today, إِذَا السَّمَاءُ انْفَطَرَتْ, the surah we done last week, and إِذَا السَّمَاءُ شَقَّتْ, which we done before. So this is the third one, the first one in order, but the third one that we are doing because we're going backwards. So it is important for a Muslim to remind himself or herself of death. It is a reality, and also what is coming after death. And the pious would do this every day. So the reason, or some people might think that it just leads to doom and gloom. Yeah, we're going to die, what's the point? We're going to die, what's the point? However, what it actually does is it helps a person focus, concentrate on what's important. So this life, even though it's temporary and it is short in comparison to the akhirah, right now it feels long. Yeah, lots of time to waste. A lot of time to waste. Example now, Friday night. Yeah, if you don't have work, you're thinking 2 nice days off. Yeah, what are we going to do in the 2 days? What's going to keep us focused for the next 2 days? Yeah, okay, a person has work schedule, is busy. You go work, family work. But then when there's time, then remembering the akhirah helps us focus. Even if we are not doing something which is beneficial for our akhirah, at least we will not do something which is harmful for it. Okay, you might not do something that's beneficial for it, and a lot of things are beneficial for the akhirah. Yeah. However, we might do something that is beneficial for our world, which is also fine and is sometimes rewarding. Most of the time it's rewarding. So it keeps us focused. Even in our free time, it keeps us focused. Okay, we remember the akhirah. Even if we are enjoying ourselves, we'll do something which is at least not going to harm our akhirah. Yeah, it's important. And death is a strange thing. Yeah? Qiyamah, it seems far, very far for everybody. Why? Because everybody thinks, everyone, imams included, ulama included, everyone thinks that Qiyamah is when everybody will die, everybody will be in the graves, the whole world will be destroyed, then Qiyamah. Yeah, that's what comes to mind straight away without thinking. It's very far away. The whole world has to be destroyed, and then Qiyamah, the day of judgment, will take place. However, for the individual, that's for the world, and we shouldn't worry about the world. For the individual, as soon as you die, your next step is Qiyamah. And that can happen anytime. It can happen anytime. It can happen today. It can happen tomorrow. It can happen in a few years. So that's what we have to, as individually, we have to think about this. That the moment I die, that's my world. That's my next real step. Yeah, there is the life in the grave, etc. But that's the next real step now. It's very close. That's why they say, "Man mata faqad qamat qiyamatu." Whoever dies, and his qiyamah is started. Yeah, his next life has started now. So it might seem very far, but it's actually very close. Yes, and now the signs we do in the surah, that we won't be alive for it, most likely. Yeah, most likely we won't be alive for them signs, because there are so many other things to come. However, what we need to concentrate on is, there's no guarantee how long we're going to live. Last or 2 weeks ago, There was a person, husband and wife. I don't like taking names, only Ali's name. So there was a husband and wife, yeah? And on a Saturday, the husband's uncle passed away in Gloucester. Yeah? In Gloucester, the husband's mama, we call it mama, the husband's uncle passed away. So they went for the janazah. And then they were there for the janazah, and then obviously ta'ziyat, where you remain, console the family members. The same place, Gloucester, the same day after they buried one, as far as I know, the wife's mama passed away. Huh? So we went for his mama, and the wife's mama also passed away. And the wife's mama was buried the next day. Yeah? Things happen very quickly. You go for one janazah, you end up attending two janazahs. The husband's mama on one day, the wife's mama on the next day. So that qiyamah, that stage is now initiated. The ghaib stage, what we can call. This is what we can see everything, isn't it? But the ghaib, the angels and the Jannat's wind, etc., that all begins, is the first stage of now the hereafter. So it started for them. However, to understand qiyamah and the importance of it, Allah mentions, إِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُوِّرَتْ, and when the sun will be folded. When the sun will be folded, it will lose its light. وَإِذَا النُّجُومُ انْكَدَرَتْ, and when the stars will be scattered and fall down. وَإِذَا الْجِبَالُ سُيِّرَتْ, and when the mountains will be uplifted and set in motion. وَإِذَا الْعِشَارُ عُطِّلَتْ, and when the pregnant she-camel will be abandoned. When the pregnant she-camel will be abandoned. وَإِذَا الْوُحُوشُ حُشِرَتْ, and when the wild animals will be gathered. وَإِذَا الْبِحَارُ سُجِّرَتْ, and when the oceans will be set ablaze on fire. وَإِذَا النُّفُوسُ زُوِّجَتْ, and when the souls will be paired. وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ, and when the baby girl will be asked, the baby girl who was buried alive will be asked, بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ, why were you killed? وَإِذَا الصُّحُفُ نُشِرَتْ, and when the book of deeds will be spread, opened in public. وَإِذَا السَّمَاءُ كُشِطَتْ, and when the sky will be stripped away. وَإِذَا الْجَحِيمُ سُعِّرَتْ, and when the fire will be ignited. وَإِذَا الْجَنَّةُ أُزْلِفَتْ, and when Jannah, paradise, will be brought close. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains different things. So one is the sun, the stars, all of them will lose its light. In some narrations it's mentioned they will be folded like a person folds clothes. Like you fold your clothes, small, compact. The sun will also be folded. The stars will fall, come crashing down. The mountains will be broken into small pieces and will be floating in the skies like cotton wool. And everything which you think is of value will be abandoned. So in the Arabs, for them, the greatest wealth, or one of the forms of wealth, was a she-camel. Because it can give birth, it can produce for you. Either you can eat or you can sell on. And it produces milk also. Yeah. So it's like gold. She-camel. Then it's pregnant. Then it's close to giving birth also. So it's not far. 1 month, 2 months pregnant. No, it's towards the end. Even that, on the day of judgment, people will abandon. Meaning, whatever is of value. For the people of the Arabs of the time when the Quran was revealed, it was the she-camel which is pregnant. Very valuable. Yeah, for money, to eat also. everything. It was very valuable, very expensive. Now you can think whatever you like. Person might like cars, person might like gold. Today people buy gold all the time. They buy gold, they invest. Whatever you think, this is wealth. Even that, nobody will pay attention to. You won't pay attention to it. وَإِذَا الْعِشَادُ عُطِّلَتْ It will be left unattended. You won't care about it. So all that wealth, if a person saves wealth and they have it in a safe at home, no, you won't care. وَإِذَا الْعِشَادُ عُطِّلَتْ وَإِذَا الْوُحُوشُ حُشِرَتْ And when the wild animals will be gathered. Now there is one hadith which mentions that on the day of judgment, even though human beings and jinn, they are the ones who will be questioned with regards to their life and how they spent it and if they believed. Animals will not be asked some questions like this. However, to show Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is extremely just. Extremely just. A non-horned animal which was attacked by a horned animal, it will be a chance to take revenge. And then they will disappear. So the chance for revenge for the animal will also be given. And then they will disappear. So وَإِذَا الْوُحُوشُ حُشِرَتْ The animals will be gathered. If you are talking, that's what in the Quran when it comes, and remember this point, it's quite important, that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions qiyamah or the scenes of qiyamah, you can think about two things. Number one is when the world is initially being destroyed. When the world is initially being destroyed. That is also understood to be qiyamah. Yeah, so the sun coming down, etc., etc. So if you're looking at that angle, then the animals will all flock to one place, where it normally doesn't happen. They have their own territories, isn't it? But when Qiyamah starts and the sun's coming crashing down and the stars are coming crashing down and there are earthquakes and the mountains are in small places and then they are floating in the air, the animals will also lose any sense of territory and they will all gather. They will all gather. Otherwise, on the Day of Judgment, what I just mentioned. So you have to remember both. وَإِذَا الْوُحُوشُ حُشِرَتْ وَإِذَا الْبِحَارُ سُجِّرَتْ Some mention that the sun, which is folded, will be thrown into the sea of the earth. But it will be folded, so don't think about size. And that sea will be set on fire because of the sun. Allahu A'lam. Different explanations are mentioned. وَإِذَا الْبِحَارُ سُجِّرَتْ And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when the questions will be initiated. So there are different parts of the Day of Judgment being described. Some are the questioning day, meaning when the world is still being destroyed. And some ayat are talking about when everyone will be resurrected again. You have to follow. وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ When resurrection will take place. And the people will come out the graves. Then there will be a group of girls who in the days of Jahiliyyah, which we know, and then it must have happened other times also, they used to be buried alive. So if a person had a baby girl born, they used to see it as a lowly thing. That this is against my dignity. So they would bury it alive. They would bury it alive. So on the Day of Judgment, these girls will be brought back to life. Allah will give them the ability to speak. And they will be asked, why were you killed? That's not pressure on the baby girl. Who's that pressure on? The murder of the parents. Then ulama discuss why is this particular question mentioned here in this surah? وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ When the baby girl who was buried, she couldn't even speak, just cried, probably just cried. بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَ So ulama mentioned, why did Allah bring this particular scenario in the surah? It could have been any other scenario where a grown man or woman could be asked various questions. And why did you kill? Why did you murder? Why did you oppress? Or why this particular situation? Because it's cruel. It's cruel that a person had such a no heart, you could say, that they took their own child because of customs and people's values around them, and they were able to bury that child with their own hands, alive, yeah, and they killed their own child. And they wouldn't do it openly. They would do it secretly. So another benefit of this is that understand, it is telling the rest of mankind, that this child who you think would never stand up, and retribution will be given. One is somebody who can speak. So you get an adult, yeah, Amin. You think, Amin, I won't do anything to him because on the day of judgment he'll catch me. Yeah, because he's intelligent, he can speak, he understands, he'll remember. This person robbed my money. Isn't it? This person done this to me, this person mocked me, this person, whatever. Yeah, but a child, what's she going to know? She was barely born and I buried her. Yeah, how is she going to stand in front of Allah and claim anything? So Allah is saying, look, Allah is so just. Allah is so just. Even those small children who could not speak, who didn't understand. You see a baby, they say they can't even see. They just see a blur for the first few months. Even that child, Allah on behalf of them will ask them, why were you killed? And Allah will take revenge for them. So some don't think that these people never do anything, or they won't be able to do anything. Yeah, sometimes, my own thing, you have your teacher. Yeah, you teach children. I think children, whatever I say, they won't remember. They don't care. They got clean hearts. They'll forget the next day. Yeah, or you have your own children. You get a little angry, yeah, and you say words which are very mean, or even physical abuse, and they'll forget. Watch, 3-year-old child don't remember what you've done when they grow up. But Allah is mentioning a warning here, that even when you do something and that person is not even aware, won't remember, I will take revenge for that person. Why? Because first and foremost, that is Allah's creation. Before it is your son, before it is your daughter, before whatever, an animal basically. It can be an animal also, like the cat, which was not fed and left to die of hunger. That woman will go to Jahannam, everyone knows the story. Allah will take revenge for those who won't be able to, normally you wouldn't think they'll be able to stand up for themselves. So it is a warning here. وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ. And then the book of deeds will be spread out. That's come in detail in the surahs we've done before. And the sky will be stripped away. Strange word in kushitat. Kushitat is what is mentioned if you've been in Pakistan or some other countries, India, where slaughtering takes place on Eid Day. Then kushitat is the action when you skin the animal, when you separate the skin from the meat, which you would do if you have ever been in that environment where the slaughtering takes place. Yeah, after you slaughter the animal, it's hanged up, and then you skin the animal, isn't it? And then after that, you take it to the butcher and it's sliced. So that's what it means. The sky will be stripped away. The sky will be stripped away. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that وَإِذَا الْجَحِيمُ سُعِّرَتْ, and the fire of Jahannam will be set ablaze. Yeah? So Jahannam is a strange fire that it only gets hotter. And it is always ignited. So if you ever had a barbecue, what happens is, you light the barbecue, the coals, and then after you put the meat on, the chicken on, and then what happens? The fire dies down. And then you have to replace the coals. Yeah? If you want to cook for longer, you have to replace the coals. But there's no dying down. The fire doesn't die down in Jahannam. So it just carry on, it just increases in heat. It only increases in heat. وَإِذَا الْجَنَّةُ أُزْلِفَتْ, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala obviously is a very, very harsh themes. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always brings something to balance it out. وَإِذَا الْجَنَّةُ أُزْلِفَتْ. That's all on one side. all on one side and remember it. However, on the other side, وَإِذَا الْجَنَّةُ أُزْلِفَتْ, Jannat will be brought close. Jannat will be brought close. So it is easier for the people who want to enter it, they will enter it. So that aside, one ayah of Jannah is more valuable and weighty than all these ayat of warnings. However, Qiyamah will take place, and the sun, etc., they'll all be destroyed. So you'll be given, think about a few actions. When the baby was buried alive, when the baby was buried alive, and think about your book of deeds will be now made public. So something you did in secret also, the pages will be spread out. And everybody will know what you've done. Everybody will know. Shameful acts. So maybe they thought at that time, I went to kill that baby, nobody knows. But Allah will make everybody aware on the Day of Judgment. Shameful acts. وَإِذَا الصُّحُفُ نُشِرَتْ. And then again, there's two abodes. Either Jahannam or Jannah. عَلِمَتْ نَفْسٌ مَا أَحْضَرَتْ. A similar ayah came already. That when this all will take place, and then you will be resurrected, and then questioning will take place about our deeds, and Jahannam will be there, Jannah will be there, then reality will hit. A person will know, a soul will know what they have presented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes what happens, we have exams. We have exams. And some people, they're always, whole year they're revising. Whole year they're revising, And you say, why are you revising for? It's 1 year away. But they revise whole year. And then you get the other guys, they'll try to, what they say, drink the ocean in a cup right at the end. Last 10 days, they just, all-nighters. Red Bull, all-nighters, And then they try to stay awake for 10 days straight, and then they'll write the exam. That's when they realize, you know what, I haven't worked hard enough. And then I've met a few people, only when they come to the exam hall, then they're like, oh no, I'm in trouble. Exam hall, then they're there and they're like, oh no. Some people don't even realize then, only when the paper's in front of them, then they realize, when the questions are there, then they realize, I can't answer much here. You get different types of students. So, عَلِمَتْ نَفْسٌ مَا أَحْضَرَتْ. Some people from before, they would read the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these verses of Day of Judgment and Jannah, Jahannam, they start preparing from early in this world. Some people towards the end of their life, they will prepare. They will realize, you know what, I'm old, my white hairs are coming out. Some people will realize people are passing away around me. I'm one of the oldest people alive now in this Old Trafford. Let me get a grip on my life. Some people won't realize. They will only realize when they are resurrected. And when they are resurrected, they will think, you know what, I wasted my life. What did I do? I ignored everything. So this sentence, عَلِمَتْ نَفْسٌ مَا أَحْضَرَتْ, it comes similar in different places. We done one already. عَلِمَتْ نَفْسٌ مَا قَدَّمَتْ وَأَخَّرَتْ. What they have sent forth and what they have left behind. There's other places in the Quran as well. يَوْمَ تَجِدُ كُلُّ نَفْسٍ مَا عَمِلَتْ مِنْ خَيْرٍ مُحْضَرًا وَمَا عَمِلَتْ مِنْ سُوءٍ. So there are different verses in different ways Allah explains when reality will hit. So when we read these verses, reality should hit for us now, today. Reality should hit for us now, today. That no matter what you've done, no matter what you've done before, Allah is always willing to forgive. Allah is always willing to forgive. So much so that there were Sahaba, radiallahu anhum, who also buried their daughters alive. They also buried their daughters alive. One Sahabi, he came to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he asked him, I buried, I think it's 6 daughters alive. He said 6 daughters alive. So he asked Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what can I do to make up for this? You can't bring them back to life. What am I going to do? So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him that for every life, free a slave. So there were slaves in the time of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he said, in lieu of every life, free one slave. Another person came and he asked, Qais is mentioned, he asked, I deal with camels. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, for every life, slaughter one camel in the name of Allah and feed the poor. So in Islam, besides kufr, besides disbelief or shirk, attributing partners to Allah, as long as he said no matter how dire, there is always a way back. There is always a way back. So that's also important to remember under this ayah, that there is always a way back. But only if you realize today that day is coming, and it's coming soon. It's coming, I don't even know when it's coming. Yeah, one is you have an appointment, you worry about it. You got exams, yeah, you have children in year 10, year 11, they know GCSEs are this particular time. A-levels are this particular time. My university exams are this particular time. But the day of judgment, we don't have a time. There's no time that we know is coming in 5 years, I'm going to die in 20 years. Very few people, the doctor says, you got 2 weeks to live. Yeah? Otherwise, the rest of us, we don't know when we're going to die. We don't know when anything can happen. So the tawbah has to happen now. When we read these surahs, and about day of judgment, it's not about delaying. It has to happen now. Alibat nafsum ma ahdarat. Allah is saying, they will know, they'll realize then, reality will hit them hard. What have I done? But for those people who are reading the Quran, it should hit them today, now. Alimat nafsum ma ahdarat. And it happened to many pious people. It's mentioned about certain pious people who we know as pious. They were drunkards, they were looters, they were kidnappers, and they would read certain ayat. Alam ya'ni lilladhina amanu an takhsha'a qulubuhum li dhikrillah. Isn't it time for those who believe that their heart humbles in front of Allah? And they changed their whole life. One ayah. They read it once and they changed their whole life. So similarly, when you read these ayat, alimat nafsum ma ahdarat, is something to click in the brain that I need to sort myself out. Some people, mashallah, they're good, then you can improve. Alimat nafsum ma ahdarat. So this surah is 19 verses. We've done more or less half the surah, inshallah we will carry on. Subhanallah bihamdihi subhanallah.